Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for coming back. So today I am just gonna talk about something while I'm getting ready because I just wanted to quick throw some makeup on, actually, because I'm making another video. So I figured while I was throwing my makeup on, I could just kind of do like a casual talk through. And I know a topic that a lot of you guys on Instagram have responded back to is my journey post hormonal birth control or the birth control pill. So before we get into any of that, I just want to remind you guys, subscribe, click that button down below if you're here to follow my journey through all my videos, and you can always hit the notification bell that will let you know when I do upload a video. Otherwise, make sure you guys comment down below if you've been through anything like this, if you're considering it, if you have questions. A huge disclaimer is I do not know everything by any means. Actually, the person I would direct you to, who will still claim she doesn't know everything, and obviously she's not a doctor, but my sister Haley is my nutrition coach. Her business is Haley Nutrition, and she is the one who helped me get off birth control. So I don't know everything. I'm just telling you guys what has happened to me, how I'm feeling now, and just kind of my journey. If you want to stay tuned and see what it's been like for me post birth control pill, then please keep watching.
Every time I'm down here, you make me smile. You're the solution. You are the solution. You are the solution.
So I'm kind of just gonna like do my makeup and then talk to you guys about it as I go. I figured that would be like a casual way to get into this, and just I have to get ready anyway, so yeah. Alright, so where do I even begin? For those of you that have followed along at all on Instagram and stuff like that, you will know kind of like the background, but I'm going to basically just go through the timeline. So the reason I decided to go off of hormonal birth control was just my sister being so knowledgeable on the topic as a nutrition coach. It's not just counting your food and taking care of what you're eating, it's everything else in your life too. So that's a big thing that, you know, affects a lot of women, and a lot of women don't necessarily know even what the birth control pill is doing to their body, which I was guilty of being one of those. So after talking with her a while, you know, she would always give me information because she knew I had been on the pill. I had probably been on the pill for 8 or 9 years. Going to the doctor when I was 16 or 17 and, you know, being put on birth control and me not really even understanding what that meant or how that was affecting my body. I never really learned about this. That's the first thing to know, is I was on it for about 8 to 9 years. So then last year when I decided to go off this, at the time I was 26. I probably started at like 17, let's just say that, in that time frame. I decided to go off the pill. It was around like August 1st. Like I had gotten my period probably the week before August 1st, and then I was supposed to take, you know, my next pill starting that Sunday, and I decided not to. Now, on the pill, I had a very regulated period. I literally knew when it was coming every single month, down to the T, what day. It was very light. So it was very light when I was on my the pill, you know, 2 or 3 days, seriously, probably, and super light. I could wear a light tampon, a regular, for, you know, a good amount of time. It would never, I never had like one of those things where I would, okay, I'm getting TMI, but I don't care, leak through onto my underwear or through my pants or anything like that. It just was never that heavy. It was so controlled and light. And before I had gone on the pill, I remember having the most like debilitating cramps and like pains in my stomach. There was days definitely where I couldn't even go to school. I'd ask my mom to stay home from school. I used a heating pad. Took ibuprofen, did all of that stuff, and it was just like, it got to the point where, you know, I mean, I wasn't dying, but it was horrible. So I decided to go on it. Let me just start off by saying, first of all, you should listen to my sister Haley's podcast. She has started a podcast. This is episode 5, I believe, that she talks about birth control pill and all the information revolving around that. It actually sparked me to make this video because I'm like, I've been meaning to make one. I've been saying I should, but she reminded me, so thank you, Hale. And you should go listen to hers because she's going to give you all the information. I'm just here to tell you how I felt and what happened to me. So now, fast forward 8 or 9 years, I'm used to this normal period every month 3 days at the most. I would get like a little crampy like the day before. I could tell it was coming, and then not much. So now, August 1st, around that time, decide to go off the pill. My period was definitely kind of like irregular in the beginning, and I admit I need to do a better job at tracking my period. I try to every month write down in my notes on my phone the day I get it. Definitely like irregular in the beginning. It wasn't super consistent on the time each month, but it came every single month since I went off. And one of the things I started to notice was, and listen, everybody's journey is going to be different. This is just what I've experienced so far, and I'm going to tell you the things that are not the prettiest that I've experienced in doing so. Not to make you feel like scared that you shouldn't do this too. That should actually make you feel more inclined to do it because of what the pill is essentially doing to your body if you're taking this for years and years and years. I started to get really bad cramps coming back. Like, I can't fully remember how I felt back in the day because I was 17, that was 10 years ago, but I just remember having horrible cramps then, and that was one of the things that started coming back like when I went off the pill. So my first couple periods coming back, I really started to notice like that bad cramping pain, like rough, you know, like just for hours, just like your uterus just feels like it's throbbing. Like, ladies, do you feel me? Which also isn't like completely normal either. Like, of course that helps me feel and understand that my body's like trying to get itself back to where it should be after taking these essentially like synthetic hormones for years. So just like a very quick synopsis or my understanding of hormonal birth control is essentially, like, if you listen to Haley's podcast, she'll tell you hormonal birth control basically like shuts down your ovaries, and it's these synthetic hormones taking place. It's not a real period. It's, you know, creating this like pill period, and it's obviously not the same. Like I told you, how it came before was nothing like how it's coming now. It's coming heavy, TMI, but it's the truth. It's coming heavy. I'm changing my tampon a lot more. The cramps are way more severe. It's lasting longer, up to 5 days, and it's just coming back full-fledged. Knowing that I was putting those chemicals and synthetic like hormones into my body, I just had enough, and I decided, like, if I'm going to take care of myself through my nutrition, through my exercise, through my sleep, through my recovery, all this stuff, like, this is another part of my body and how like everything is affecting each other. So I felt like responsible to take control. I am someone who wants to have kids, of course. Like, me and Mark talk about it, and it's definitely something we want to do, and I want my body to be in prime condition when that time comes. And the longer you're on the pill, the more things can get messed up, and your body can just take a long time once you actually want to get pregnant and all that crazy. Those are a couple of the things I've been experiencing still to this day. I feel like it like got a little bit better last month or so. Up to this point, I'm about 9 months post hormonal birth control pill. I feel like last month it kind of like calmed down a little bit, which I guess would be like month 8, and this month it is back like crazy. And I do like now sometimes get like an upset stomach the day before I'm getting my period. I don't know what that's about, but I'll feel like kind of sick. The other night I was like getting a shower, and I got out of the shower and I said to Mark, I'm like, oh my god, like my stomach just feels so upset. He's like, are you gonna get sick? I'm like, no, I don't think so, but it's just like I feel so like blah, and it wasn't crampy. Next day, lo and behold, cramps appear and Aunt Flo is here. So probably like the biggest hiccup in my journey so far post birth control has been in November. So what would that have been? September, October, November. Yeah, that was only 3 months later. Something that can happen because, to my understanding, birth control pill is something that can help control and deal with ovarian cysts. So people that like chronically get those, I think birth control can help keep them from developing. I don't quote me on this, but that's just like my understanding. And when this happened to me, I had a lot of people respond to me back on Instagram and tell me about their story. But November, like right before Thanksgiving or right after Thanksgiving? I think it was right after Thanksgiving. Basically, I out of nowhere had the worst, I'm not even talking cramp pain, like it was cramp pain, but like just more. And I started getting these horrible pains. I was laying in bed with Mark and I like tapped him and I'm like, this just does not feel right. Something is going on. Like my stomach is killing me. It was just this like horrible pain to the point where it was making me feel sick at the same time. You know, when something hurts so bad, it makes you feel sick. So I'm like, what the hell is going on? So, you know, I lay there for like a couple minutes and I'm just like, at this point, it's getting like unbearable. And I said to him, I'm like, I don't know what to do. I don't know if I should go to the hospital. Like, can you call my parents? Like, at this point, we had moved into our house 2 days. This was our second night sleeping in our townhouse that we live in now. So, of course, we're all excited. We're in our own house. And this happens in the second night. And I'm already calling my freaking parents. I'm not even ashamed. So I call them. They answer. This is like 11 or 12 at night. And they're like, you know what? Like, you should just go. You know your body. If this is not something you've ever felt before and you're not sure what's going on, Mark, you should just take her. So we decided to go to the hospital, to the ER. Mark took me. He was such a gem. Literally just tried to make sure I was okay the entire time. Drove me there. I literally brought a bag with me because at that point I felt so sick from the pain. I didn't know if I was going to throw up, which I hate throwing up. We get there. They take care of me. We're there from like 11 or 12 to like 4 in the morning. Mark was such a saint. But basically, they weren't sure at first if it was they asked you if you're pregnant. I said I wasn't. They tested you. I wasn't. Then they had done, I want to call it a CAT scan. They did some type of scan. Ultrasound? No, it wasn't an ultrasound yet, but whatever. They took me back, did some type of scan, I guess, to like make sure it wasn't my appendix and then just like see what else was going on. So it ended up not being my appendix, thank God. And then what they did find, and they ended up coming to like the best conclusion they could because they couldn't necessarily prove it, but they apparently did see fluid in my pelvis, which can sometimes indicate that an ovarian cyst had burst. First reaction when she saw that, the lady that's taking care of me, and she gave me this whole like pamphlet that talked about ovarian cyst bursting. They didn't see anything else in there at the time, I don't think. But she was like, you know, you need to follow up with your OBGYN, get this checked out. They didn't do an ultrasound on me there, which I later like realized was really lame. They should have taken care of me there to see if anything else was going on. But they didn't, which sent me to my OBGYN in the next like couple weeks. So they gave me some fluids and medications to take care of the pain. I ended up feeling a lot better by the time I was leaving. I was able to go home and go to sleep, and then I took a lot of time off from the gym, probably like 6 or 7 days, 5 or 6 days, and kind of just like rested back up. But so they came to the conclusion it was an ovarian cyst burst because they saw the fluid in my pelvis. So then I went to the OBGYN a little while later and I got scheduled for a pelvic ultrasound. So I went and had that done, and they didn't see any other ovarian cysts. But, you know, one of the things they said is like after being on birth control, which can help keep those from flaring up. It could be because my birth control had been helping me the entire time for the past 8 or 9 years, that once I came off it, I kind of had this like situation with this ovarian cyst burst. So hopefully it was a one and done thing and it will never happen again, because I wouldn't wish that on anyone, but they can be reoccurring sometimes, so I'm just gonna have to deal with it and see. And I'm not saying that to scare anybody from going off of it, because everybody's different. That could not happen to like anybody that watches this, but that is just something that I've dealt with, and I want to be open and honest and totally truthful with everything I'm talking about. So that's kind of all like the dark stuff that I've experienced with going off of hormonal birth control. Things I have experienced, I feel like I used to be like a chronic headache type of person, and I still do get headaches here and there. It's just, I don't know, I swear it's always just been like how I am. But my headaches have definitely decreased, I think, since going off of the birth control pill. And I feel like overall I have just felt better and like more in tune with my body, if that makes sense. And I know that my body is still trying to sort shit out. That's why like I'm getting like these really bad cramps and stuff, which it shouldn't be that way forever. You're not supposed to have like debilitating cramps like your whole life. You want to try and get your period obviously as symptomless as possible, but for me right now I guess something else I could do, which Haley has recommended, is get some testing done just on my hormones and make sure everything's like okay and returning back to normal. I would take any of these things happening to me any day over being still being on the pill and having my body go through that type of thing. Just because for me, it's not worth the damage that those things are doing to my body. I'd rather give my body this time. Oh, but so one of the things I was saying, and you'll read this a lot when like learning about your period, which you should do. There's a couple books I'm gonna borrow from Haley or order that she has read that have really good information just learning about your period. One of the things I read a lot and saw a lot is that sometimes what they'll say is it can take as many months to kind of like get your body back into the swing of things and start like correcting everything and getting back to normal. It can take as many months as years you were on the pill, if that makes sense. So for me, I was on like 8 or 9 years, let's just say 9. Right now is my 9th month being off of the pill. So I feel like things have started to kind of calm down a little bit. Of course, I'm still like getting these cramps that feel like pretty bad at the time, but you know, maybe only for like a day before or the day while I'm getting it, which in the first couple months it was like multiple days at a time, and you know, I was just like experiencing worse symptoms in the beginning, and I feel like they have started to get a little more controlled as the months have gone on. They're still there for sure. I expect to go off the pill and have everything snap back to normal in 1 month, because comparing being on something for 8 or 9 years and then everything going back to normal in a month or two, like it's just not gonna happen, and I didn't expect that to. Overall, like I wouldn't take back being off of the pill for anything. I think it's so much better for my body. It's just makes me feel better overall knowing I'm taking care of myself in different aspects, like not just my nutrition, not just exercising. Sorry, I can't really talk while I'm doing that. I'm not telling you that you have to do anything. This was just me telling you my experience, so all I'm encouraging is that you take time to learn about it, because I think you should, and I wish that I would have learned about it sooner. I just didn't know, and I wasn't thinking about it at all to, you know, do some research and find out. I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I'm dealing with it now rather than later, being proactive, taking care of my body because I want to. I'm not saying anybody else has to. I'm just here to tell you what I've experienced. And yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions. Things have been getting better. That's like the overall theme. They have definitely been getting better, and I'm sure they will continue to. I'm right at that point now where it can take this long for things to kind of even out. So I'm curious to see in the next couple months, 10, 11, and then 1 year mark. Looking forward to this journey, and I hope that this was helpful to some of you guys who are considering going off. Maybe you already are. Let me know what you've experienced so far in the comments down below. I would love to hear your story. This is something that I feel like isn't talked about enough, so I hope this was helpful to someone out there. Anyways, thank you guys so much for listening, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!